Hi there, and welcome back to Out There, a Cryptid podcast. I'm your host, Josh. On the 13th and last day of each month, I come out with a new episode focused on a cryptid that I find super fascinating and weird. And if you still don't know what a cryptid is, it is defined as an animal that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. Cryptids don't have to be supernatural or mythical beings, although many of them are. Some cryptids have actually become documented animals. Make sure you go and follow the podcast on Instagram at Out There Cryptids and check out the posts I make for each episode and maybe send some suggestions you'd like to hear. Surprise! That's right, more episodes. Now you will all get an episode on the 13th and 31st, or whatever the last day of the month is. You will get a brand new episode each time. Yay! Today's episode is about a nightmarish creature of the darkness, a creature that is whispered to be a grotesque fusion of leathery wings and humanoid terror, hunting the inky voids of the rainforest. It is said to be a monstrous blend of bat and primate, hunting the rainforest with its blood-curdling cries. This month, we are talking about the Ahool. Let's dive in. Picture this. Java, Indonesia. Think emerald green rice fields cascading down volcanic hillsides, ancient temples whispering tales of history. From the serene vibes of Borobudur to the lively spirit of Jakarta, Java effortlessly blends tradition with modernity. Oh, and did I mention there's a giant bat-like creature lurking in the jungle? Descriptions of the Ahool vary, but it's often described as a large bat-like or flying primate. The creature is reported to be covered in short, dark gray fur, have large black eyes, flattened forearms supporting its leathery wings, and a monkey-like head with a flattish man-like face. Like other bats, the Ahool is nocturnal and spends the daytime inside caves, hiding in their darkness. The creature is often compared to a giant bat, with the wingspan reportedly ranging from 10 to 12 feet. The name Ahool was named for the sound it makes when nearby, something similar to a howl. But the tales that the locals tell of this cryptid are just as unsettling. In some versions of the folklore, the Ahool is depicted as a guardian spirit of the rainforest. Some local communities believe that the Ahool protects the flora and fauna of the jungle, and its presence is seen as a sign of balance in the ecosystem. However, some stories portray the Ahool as an omen of misfortune or impending danger. Its eerie cries are said to foretell calamities or unfortunate events, leading some to fear encountering the creature. These stories often emphasize the nocturnal nature of the Ahool. It is said to be most active during the night, soaring through the skies and emanating distinctive calls that echo through the dense jungles. Exactly like the known animal, it shares a likeness. Some stories describe the Ahool as a creature that sleeps in caves during the day. Local tales speak of brave individuals venturing into the rainforest to discover the hidden layers of the Ahool, with encounters ranging from terrifying to awe-inspiring. And when the Ahool has interacted with humans, people claim it feels like it is either in a protective or ominous manner. However, there are some versions where the Ahool is said to have shape-shifting abilities. There was one story that is said to be from the Javanese people that sheds light on this cryptid's abilities. One moonlit night, a villager found himself deep within the labyrinth of the jungle. In the hushed stillness, he heard a melodic whisper, a voice that seemed to resonate through the leaves. Ahool! The Ahool revealed itself, its wings casting shadows that danced like ancient spirits. To the villager's surprise, the Ahool shifted shapes before his eyes. First, it became a luminous firefly, leading him through the tangled vines. Then it transformed into a wise old owl perched on a branch, imparting ancient wisdom in the language of the jungle. With each shapeshift, the Ahool guided him through the dense foliage, offering glimpses of the unseen world. Finally, as they emerged from the heart of the rainforest, the creature returned to its majestic form, spreading its wings and disappearing into the moonlight. The villager returned to the village, forever changed by his encounter with the Ahool. The story makes this cryptid out to be much less aggressive than what some others have said, and we can see that perhaps there really is nothing to be afraid of. Well, except the giant half-bat, half-monkey part. But then, in 1925, we got our first sighting of this elusive creature. Salic Mountains, 1925. Dr. Ernest Bartolus and his team were on an expedition when they came upon a creature they did not know. He claimed that it flew directly over his head by a waterfall, but that wasn't his last encounter. In 1927, Dr. Bartolus was in his thatched hut near the Tajankal River in western Java. He was awoken by a sound, but not a normal jungle sound, one that he had never heard before. It was something similar to a cry or howl, and it was directly above his hut. He grabbed a torch and ran outside to see if he could get another glimpse of the creature making this noise, but the creature was deep in the jungle, far out of sight. Around this same time, another explorer named Ivan T. Sanderson claimed to have seen the same creature in the same area. He claimed to have heard the creature's distinctive cry and to have seen the creature briefly, describing it as a large bat-like animal with a monkey-like face and bright red eyes. Bernard Elements, a naturalist and explorer, reported hearing the Ahool's cry while on a trip to Java. But that's not all. He also said he saw the creature, briefly describing it as a large bat with a wingspan of up to 12 feet. But then stories went cold for years, until the 1970s, when a British cryptozoologist named Jonathan Whitcomb claimed to have seen the Ahool while on a trip to Indonesia. He said it was a huge bat creature with a wingspan of 12 feet and a light brown fur covering its body. Now, here's the thing. Those are all the reports of the Ahool that we have. Before you get upset, our favorite show, Destination Truth, went to investigate this cryptid. Josh talks to a villager who says that he saw the Ahool eating fish by the river. So during their investigation, they set out some raw fish by the river with a camera in hopes of capturing the creature. The team was astonished by how dark it got in the jungle. Not even moonlight came through. And so as they investigated, they found a cave and went inside. As expected, they saw lots of bats flying around the cave, but all seemed fairly normal until they heard a large crack of something far into the cave. Then, right after, they caught something large flying on their thermal imaging camera. Josh shouted, "Bigger than a bat," as it flew across the screen. At the end of the episode, they had the thermal video analyzed by a zoologist, who unfortunately told them it was a normal-sized bat that just flew closer to the camera, making it appear giant. And as for the fish by the river, the Ahool didn't stop for a bite. But perhaps this creature was too smart to fall for those traps. Or perhaps it wasn't there anymore. There have been many creatures that have almost the same exact description as the Ahool from all around the world. In Cameroon, a country in Africa, scientists claimed to have seen a similar creature. The locals refer to it as the Olotu. It also has a 12-foot wingspan and a monkey-like face, but its fur is pure black, and it is regarded with a great deal of superstition and fear. But this isn't the only giant bat-like creature from Africa. There is a creature called the Kongomado. Reports of the Kongomado are primarily anecdotal and have been passed down through generations in the folklore of the Kaande people of western Zambia. Additionally, the term Kongomado is sometimes used interchangeably with other cryptids or unknown flying creatures in different regions. The folklore surrounding the Kongomado often emphasizes its large wingspan, leathery wings, and a beak with sharp teeth. Some accounts suggest that it has a pterosaur-like appearance. The creature is typically associated with attacks on humans, particularly those who venture too close to its alleged territory. One of the most well-known accounts comes from the early 20th century and involves Frank Melland, a British engineer and amateur ornithologist. While Melland was in Zambia in the 1920s, local natives showed him drawings of a large bird-like creature they called Kangamato. When Melland mentioned this to a local missionary, the missionary claimed to have seen the creature himself. According to the missionary, the Kangamato had a long beak filled with teeth and large wings. They went on to tell him it attacks boats, especially those crossing rivers. The creature swoops down and capsizes the boats, leading translation of its name as the overwhelmer of boats. Now, the one thing to note about this cryptid is that although it is linked in the same group as those other bat-like cryptids, it seems this cryptid resembles more of a pterodactyl creature. About 3,540 miles away, the Giforo of Senegal roams the area. It is described as being a giant bat that is foul-smelling and often breaking into homes. Its name means the fear that flies by night. The people hate it so much there that they pray for its death regularly. And just to continue on with bat-like creatures in the area, the people of Madagascar, a large island just off the coast of Africa, have their own name for their giant bat cryptid. It's called the Fanglabolo. It is said to have a wingspan of 5 feet or larger, but all of these reported creatures are aggressive. The Molaruka of Tanzania is the most normal of these African bat cryptids. They are the most similar to the known species. It is said to be an herbivore, mainly eating fruits. It is mainly spoken of as a pest to agriculture. So maybe these sightings are all one creature that has moved around, or perhaps a species that lives around different areas, and those slight differences they have are just from adapting to their surroundings. Or maybe there are multiple human-like flying bats. Sasabonsam is a mythical creature or forest spirit in the folklore of various Akan-speaking people in Ghana, particularly among the Ashanti and Fante ethnic groups. The word Sasabonsam is often translated as hairy creature or hairy person in the Akan language. It is often described as a hairy winged creature with long limbs, sharp talons, and a large razor-like teeth. It is believed to dwell in dense forest, particularly in large ancient trees, and is said to have the ability to fly and navigate the forests with ease. Now, the Sasabonsam is often associated with malevolence and is considered a dangerous forest spirit. It is said to capture and devour people who venture too deep into the forest, especially those who disrespect or harm the natural environment. It is so deeply embedded in the cultural beliefs of the Akan people and serves as a cautionary figure. Deep within the jungles of Ghana, a group embarked on an expedition, guided by someone seasoned in navigating the dense terrain. As twilight settled, an air of unease permeated the group. A distant rustle caught their attention, revealing a shadowy figure with wings outstretched against the fading light. The creature circled above, its leathery wings spanning wide, eyes gleaming like fiery orbs. A collective hush fell over the observers as the mythical creature soared away, leaving behind a moment of stunned silence. The encounter became a tale, passed down through generations, a testament to the mysteries that linger in the heart of the jungle. Stories of the Sasabonsam are often told to discourage individuals from wandering into the forest without proper preparation or respect for the environment. It emphasizes the importance of harmony with nature and the potential dangers of the wilderness. Now, this is very similar to the Ahool in the sense that this cryptid is there as a protector of the forest. Perhaps these creatures were made for the purpose of keeping harmony between living things, to keep the scales balanced when the human world began to evolve. Or perhaps they were sent to punish the world, to make sure that humans weren't always on top of the food chain. The orang batty, a flying cryptid reportedly found in Southeast Asia, particularly on Indonesian island of Seram, is described as vicious, soaring primates. These creatures are said to carry out nocturnal raids on native villages, kidnapping children to be consumed. Dating back to the 1500s, the Moluccan people residing on Seram Island have shared chilling tales with Christian missionaries about this winged predator. These creatures, referred to as the orang batty, are known for their nighttime assaults on villages, targeting infants and small children. The motive behind these alleged abductions remains speculative, hinting at ominous possibilities. The Ahool and the orang batty are often linked into one creature due to their similarity in characteristics and location of the sightings. Locals on Seram Island describe the orang batty as approximately 5 feet tall, with black leathery wings, red skin, and a lengthy, thin tail. These creatures are said to emanate a mournful wail while on the prowl. The name orang batty translates to men with wings in the indigenous language. A pretty unbelievable thing to hear from the locals when visiting, but that is exactly what someone thought, and was proven dead wrong. In 1987, English missionary Tyson Hughes was assisting tribespeople in developing efficient farms on Seram Island when he first started to hear stories about the orang batty. Initially skeptical about their more sinister aspects, Hughes never would have imagined running into them. He claimed to have had a first-hand encounter with one of the creatures midway through his contract. It is unclear what exactly happened during his sighting, but the experience deepened his trust with the people, inspiring him to document their horrifying stories about this unusual beast. Now, there are more giant bat cryptids that we didn't talk about, but I want to save some for future episodes. So, I think this is a good time to talk about some explanations. Probably the first thing we are all thinking is that this is just a known bat species. The size is being blown out of proportion. The largest known bat species is the flying fox, specifically species known as Pteropus. Pteropus bats are commonly referred to as flying foxes due to their fox-like faces. These bats belong to the family Pteropodidae and are found in various parts of Africa, Asia, and Australia, and the islands in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, which all have their own versions of the Ahool. The largest species is the giant golden-crowned flying fox, which is native to the Philippines. These bats have a wingspan that can reach up to approximately 5.6 feet or even more, making them the largest bat species in terms of wingspan. Other large species include the Indian flying fox and the Malayan flying fox. While their wingspans are slightly smaller than that of the giant golden-crowned flying fox, they are still among the largest bats globally. It is also possible that known bat species may exhibit unusual behavior, leading to sightings that seem extraordinary. This could be influenced by environmental factors, diseases, or other stressors. After all, they are wild animals, and the most minor changes can make a drastic difference when it comes to their behavior. It is also possible that large birds, such as raptors or other migratory species, might be mistaken for a large bat-like creature, especially if seen from a distance or in challenging lighting conditions. However, I don't think this would come close to the monkey or human-like faces that people have described in almost every account. Here's the thing. What we do know is that the Ahool has a lot of cultural significance as a symbolic creature with local traditions. Its existence might be more metaphorical or symbolical than literal. This could lead to the witnessed accounts being influenced by psychological factors, such as suggestibility, fear, or cultural expectations, leading to perceptions of a creature that may not be real. Of course, the possibility exists that there is an undiscovered or poorly documented species of bat in the dense rainforests of Java and all around the world. Maybe the Ahool is one of them, an unknown species hiding in the jungle, waiting to be found. Or maybe it knows exactly what it's doing, staying in the shadows and out of sight. So, what do you think? Is the Ahool really out there? We are on Instagram at OutThereCryptids, so make sure to follow us and tell us all of your thoughts on the cryptids we cover and what you'd like to hear next. Make sure to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. It's a great way for others to find the podcast and enjoy, just like you. On the 13th, I will be covering a legendary cryptid, a creature that when disturbed from its eternal slumber can wreak havoc upon those who dare disrupt their tombs. We are talking about mummies. See you next time. This episode was written and hosted by me, Josh, with logo design by Jason Zykes and theme music from purpleplanet.com.